Let's jump right into this explainer. We're looking at HealSoma Bridging the Gap in Modern Healthcare. There is a massive structural gap in modern medicine right now, and honestly, almost everyone has experienced it firsthand. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating breakdown of exactly where our health system leaves us hanging and how a totally new clinical infrastructure model is stepping in to fix it.
Seriously? Picture this. Have you ever been sitting in your car, just completely defeated after a rushed 7-minute appointment? You know something is off, but the doctor just looks at you and says, your labs are fine. You did everything right? You booked the visit, described your symptoms, got the blood drawn, and waited. Then the results come back normal, but you're exhausted in a way that sleep just doesn't fix. The system hands you a referral and just moves on. Everything looks normal, but you do not feel normal. It's a wildly frustrating reality that millions face every single year.
Section 1. The Modern Healthcare Gap. Two broken sides. This deep emotional frustration stems directly from the actual divided state of healthcare today.
Think about it like a giant divide. On one side, you've got traditional medicine. It absolutely has the clinical rigor, the licensure, the authority, but it's built for disease management, not human optimization. That's what leaves you with those rushed 7-minute visits. Then, on the flip side, we have the wellness industry. Now, this space offers deep personalization, curiosity, and a genuine willingness to ask why. But it's largely unregulated, it's inconsistent, and it often totally lacks clinical accountability. So you're left stuck in the middle, trying to figure out what's a credible answer and what's just really convincing marketing.
Section 2. The missing link. Trust without clinical tools. Caught right in the middle of this chaos is you, the individual, just searching for credible answers.
But here is where it gets interesting. The true solution actually lies with the people you probably already interact with on a weekly basis. Think about coaches, trainers, med spa owners, chiropractors, your wellness practitioners. These professionals hold the single most underused asset in health today, and that is actual trust. They know your daily habits, your stress levels, your sleep patterns. They've earned the kind of relationship that traditional hospital systems just can't buy at scale. When your health changes, they are the ones who notice first, because behavior change is literally what they do for a living.
But there's a catch. These trusted professionals hit a very hard ceiling. Legally, they can't order labs, they can't interpret blood work, and they can't connect that lived experience they see in you every day to objective clinical data. It's crazy when you think about it. The people with the absolute most influence over your daily health behavior have the least access to clinical tools. That right there is the massive structural gap we're talking about.
Section 3. The agitation, the true cost of building. Now, you might be thinking, hey, why doesn't an ambitious wellness business just build this clinical layer themselves? Well, let's look at the harsh reality of what that actually takes.
To do this legally and safely, a business has to orchestrate an incredibly complex framework right from scratch. Step 1. You have to secure physician partnerships and find a medical director willing to put their actual license on the line. Step 2. Build out compliance architecture across multiple state lines, which is a total nightmare. Step 3. Establish lab relationships and figure out all the fulfillment logistics. And finally, Step 4. Develop custom software to maintain the whole shebang forever, especially as regulations inevitably shift.
Bottom line, doing this seriously requires millions of dollars, millions, and years of development before you even serve a single client. Every hour a business spends building this massive, complicated machinery is an hour taken away from the actual client relationships that made their wellness business valuable in the first place. It just doesn't make sense.
Section 4. The solution. HealSoma's infrastructure. Look, every other industry solves this kind of heavy lifting by plugging into existing systems, right? Retailers didn't build their own payment processors, they plugged in. Brands didn't build their own e-commerce engines from scratch, they plugged in. And now, finally, health and wellness is doing the exact same thing.
Enter HealSoma. This is the essential clinical infrastructure for the wellness industry. It's basically a plug-and-play layer that completely handles the medical director oversight, the lab authorizations, and the clinical liability. So, whether it's a coach in a small town or a massive multi-location med spa, they can deliver what used to require an entire medical clinic. The practitioners get to focus entirely on their clients, but now they are completely backed by a robust clinical engine.
Section 5. Pillar 1. Credibility through objective data. So, what does HealSoma actually power for these practitioners? Well, it starts with our first foundational principle, establishing true credibility through data by proving actual transformation.
We all know that for decades, the wellness space has heavily relied on subjective testimonials and, those before and after transformation photos. But the next era demands objective data to prove that internal bodily changes are actually happening. Credibility through data replaces all that guesswork. It indisputably shows that the work you're doing changed what was happening inside a person's body.
The entire industry is evolving. We're moving away from this past of basic influencer protocols and photos, and we are stepping firmly into the present of objective data and clinical proof. Ultimately, this points us toward a future built on a compounding clinical intelligence ecosystem, where businesses use hard, verifiable evidence to demonstrate better outcomes. It's a real game changer.
Section 6. Pillar 2, Personalized Health Insights. But having the data is just the first step. Our second foundational principle is generating personalized health insights to make all this data uniquely actionable for you.
Because let's be real, a lab value without your specific context is literally just a number on a page. And a symptom without objective data, that's just a guess. HealSoma's clinical intelligence system connects that objective data directly to your day-to-day reality, generating deeply personalized health insights.
This kind of integration pulls together lab results, patient history, and your day-to-day lived reality. And the really beautiful thing here is that every single case that moves through this ecosystem makes the compounding intelligence even smarter. It gives clients credible answers perfectly tailored to their unique context and delivered by the practitioner they already trust the absolute most.
Section 7. The future. Bridging the healthcare gap. When you zoom out, healthcare's biggest gap really isn't a lack of science or tests or information. The real issue is that credibility, data, and trust have always lived in 3 totally different places. Well, until now. By putting all those pieces in the exact same place, we are completely changing the landscape of preventative health. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought. In an era of endless health noise, it's time to ask yourself, can your wellness actually be proven? Is your journey backed by objective data? Thanks so much for joining me to explore this fascinating shift today, and remember to keep asking the right questions about your health.